Dr. Bryant?
Here.
Mrs. Clevenger?
Here.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mr. Davis? Here. Mr. Irwin?
I'm here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Robbins?
Here.
Mrs. Seary?
Here.
Mr. Leahy?
Here, we have a quorum. Can I get a motion to vote, to approve or to vote to conduct a special session meeting?
So moved, Colin. Second, Thomas.
Mr. Cobb, could you please take roll?
Dr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Clevenger?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Mrs. Seary?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy?
Yes. The motion passes. The mission of the Lumberton School District is to provide an educational program which promotes adaptability, safety awareness, requests, and respect for the cultural differences to meet the challenges of the 21st century. So at this time, we have nothing really on our agenda formally today, but as in all public meetings, we do have the opportunity for the public participation. So the meeting will now be open to the public referencing any item. However, if questions, comments pertaining to litigation, students, personnel, negotiations, we would ask that you see the superintendent after this meeting. Again, reminder that complaints stated or actions taken by the public will be under advisement for the board for investigation, discussion, action at a later date or time. Please keep in mind that this is not a question or answer session, but Dr. Murray or myself may address any comments at the conclusion of the comment session. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Total comment period to not exceed 1 hour.
I live at 72 Boston Road in Lumberton. I've been a resident of Lumberton since 2011, and I also work in Lumberton. I have 3 children. My older 2 are now at RV for high school, 1 a junior and 1 a freshman. They are thriving at RV. They are academically successful in regular honors and AP classes. They are part of the school, and they participate in activities such as yearbook, lacrosse, various NHS societies, soccer, musicals, choir, and more. They learned so much from the staff at Lumberton and were proud to be Wildcats. They were well-rounded and well-educated and challenged by fabulous teachers and staff. They learned how to discuss sensitive topics with others and find value in differing opinions. They got to participate in various things that helped make Lumberton special. Between the 2 of them, they had different math classes, GT, art class, music class, choir concerts, orchestra concerts, gym class, flag football, middle school sports, and more. Back then, they got recess taken away for bad behavior. They had homework that parents had to sign off on. There was structure and rewards, and they felt secure here. Then I had my youngest start school during the pandemic, and she is a child in need of services. I found myself meeting therapists that I never knew before and learning the lingo of a special education parent. Suddenly, I was experiencing a whole new Lumberton, all while the wonderful Lumberton I always knew was falling apart. I found all the teachers and support staff to be kind, intelligent people who wanted to help. But I found the department to be understaffed and without the staffing or resources in place to be able to best help the children. Do you know there are no inclusion classrooms in Lumberton? There used to be. Do you know the benefit of inclusion classrooms? Why are teachers now greatly restricted in the rewards and rules that they can use in their own classrooms? Do you know what reading program Lumberton uses for all the elementary students? Do you know what balanced literacy is? And have you heard of Fontes and Pinnell? These are all questions I hope you know the answer to. Have you listened to the podcast, Sold a Story? If you have not listened to Sold a Story, please, I beg you to do that. In April, I expressed my concern that the current curriculum, while proven to not be the best way to teach regular education students, was also a core program for children with learning disabilities. I voiced my concern for how my own child was doing. I was told I would get a call back. I didn't. I was instead told that my daughter needed a more restrictive setting. I voiced my concern that her needs are academic and not behavioral. I asked to observe the classroom they wanted her to attend. I was then denied the ability to observe the classroom that they wanted her to attend. I thought that under federal law, I had the right to see that classroom. I was told I would get a call from the administration, and I never got that call. I was told we could work together, and instead I felt strong-armed to just accept what was being offered. On a personal note, after much debate, we felt that the administration in Lumberton would not put their best efforts forward to help our daughter grow. This year, she is attending a different school. I am here because I still want her to attend Lumberton, and I want things to change. These same people who never followed through with me, who told me I couldn't observe a classroom that they wanted my child to attend, who didn't voice concern over performance during the year, who told me they were making changes but never made them, these are the same people who are failing the regular education students, teachers, and staff at Lumberton. These are the same people who are not listening to the concerns being voiced by the other parents and staff. As an example, last year I was told that the iReady program was already started and it would help identify issues and be a great resource. At the Board of Ed meeting last week, I learned that the teachers are just now, almost a year later, getting trained on it, and I believe I heard it's now optional. I was told that curriculum changes were in the works. At the Board of Ed meeting last week, it sounded like the school is just starting to form a committee, which will then look into other ELA curriculums. It sounds like money is being spent, but changes aren't being made. I didn't come to the meeting last week expecting to be a participant this week. I feel bad that my child does not go to Lumberton this year. I look around this room and I see teachers and staff who I believe truly care for my kid, and it makes me so sad that they aren't helping to educate her this year. However, until I feel that the entire school supports my child, I am concerned for her to attend. I have seen too many excellent teachers, support staff, and principals leave or retire. Yes, there are issues across America in this post-pandemic era, but that doesn't make an excuse for the current situation. The issues in Lumberton are alarming and need your attention, and I beg you to start taking action.
Hi, my name is Deb Mackout, and I live in Lumberton. I've been working for the district for 21 years. I have to say the staffing conditions are the worst that they have ever been. Most of our amazing staff have resigned or retired, have done so because of upper administration, and quite frankly, your lack of supporting the teachers or the aides when parents have a grievance, even when that grievance is proven to be false. Since when do the parents dictate how, who, and what is taught in our schools? You cannot seem to hire aides and keep them due to the low pay and what they have to endure. No one wants to be hit, kicked, bit, or spit on, among other things, for a mere $17 and change. We cannot even get substitute teachers or aides for the same reason. They don't want to deal with the behaviors that are being tolerated and allowed in our schools. You asked to be on our board. You wanted these positions. Well, please start doing what's right. Every month you hear the problems our schools are having, yet you seem to not believe or choose to do nothing. My challenge to you is that each and every one of you should substitute in all of our schools, all of our grades, and in all positions. Hopefully then you will have a better understanding of what our staff deals with 180 days out of the year, and then maybe you will do your elected jobs and make some changes for the better.
Hi, my name is Lauren Asaro. I live at 18 Amaryllis Lane in Lumberton. I've been a resident since 2010 and a teacher in Lumberton since 2012. My kids, Ethan, who is a freshman at RV, and Ella, who is a 6th grader, have gone through our schools. I love my job working with students and supporting teachers in the area of math. Tonight, I'm speaking for my fellow teachers, staff, our students, and parents, and our town. There are so many topics I can speak on, but I would like to share one initiative that started last year, searching and implementing a new math program. Last year, I joined many committees. Some included scheduling, strategic planning, and the math committee. I was excited to help Lumberton grow. I became co-chair of the math committee, ready to search for a new math curriculum that met the needs of our students and our teachers. Our scores in math had been low. May and I planned to pilot 3 programs. We wanted to be mindful of what would work best for our students and teachers. We had a committee including teachers from kindergarten through 8th grade and special education, ready to start the work in January. Teachers were eager to be a new voice in a curriculum that could last us another 10 years. In February 2023, I was informed that we were not going to pilot programs. Instead, one was selected for us, illustrative math. It was based on the pilot program that Dr. Murray ran in her previous district. The decision was made for us. I was disappointed, but I supported the decision. Our meetings were delayed due to administrators resigning in the spring. The committee met in June to listen to IM publishers. After listening to multiple publishers, the committee continued to ask for more time in order to properly vet a program, not to rush a decision, and not to spend money needlessly on a program that we didn't support. The middle school had already used IM for years, and they wanted to pursue a new program that better met the needs of our students, maybe even a program that aligned with our needs. The committee received an email from Dr. Murray saying the decision was made and that we needed to respect and support it. Let me be clear that this isn't the first time I served on a math leadership committee in our district. I worked with previous administration on supporting the launch of Eureka Math. It was and is still fully aligned with the New Jersey math standards. That is why it was chosen. Our voices at that time were heard, our opinions mattered, and our expertise was considered. That was not the case this time. So we did what we were told, but again, the decision was made without our input. Teachers spent the summer writing curriculum and made sure that everything was ready for our fellow teachers in September. That brings us to the start of the school year and math professional development. The program is an entirely new way to teach math. You cannot just pick up a book and teach from it. The teachers here are amazing, but they need time to learn and understand the new methods prior to implementing the program. May knew if teachers did not get proper PD and support from the start, any program would fail. She said that this year we would focus on the new math program and iReady. Unfortunately, what had been planned was not actually what happened. We have only had a day and a half PD with IM trainers. We did learn at the training that IM is also not for our special education students because it is a tier 1 program. Our PD days have been changed to project-based learning, videos for the inclusion grant, or other initiatives. It is now February and we have had no more Imagine Learning training or IM training since the beginning of the year. We also received our materials late, and the teachers, they did the best that they can. Once again, teachers were overloaded with initiative after initiative with little to no support and no opportunity to succeed. Thankfully, Liselli did give BRS teachers time to go through materials and units at the PD recently. Once again, decisions were made without our input. Our Lumberton teachers want to learn and grow to support our students. We are being spread too thin with all the new initiatives happening simultaneously. There's even a new ELA committee set to pick a new curriculum this year, a homegrown program. How can that be when we aren't even trained in our math curriculum? Decisions continue to be made without our input being heard, even when we're devoting our own time to after-school committees. Please hear us when we say professional development should always be happening. We need time to learn our curriculum so our students, like my own daughter, do not suffer academically. It is time to focus on what really matters, our students, and not initiatives that look good on paper or in pictures.
Lumberton, New Jersey. I have been a Lumberton educator for over 25 years. Over this time, I have not only been a teacher, but I've become a parent and a resident of Lumberton. My family moved here to Lumberton when our triplets began kindergarten. We loved Lumberton. We knew firsthand how wonderful the district was. I have nothing but praise and utmost respect for all of the teachers who have taught my 4 children. My husband, Tom Wilkinson, and I thought we would be in Lumberton for the rest of our educational careers until retirement and after our 4 children have graduated college. That was the plan. Unfortunately, this plan took a different course. My husband devoted his life to Lumberton School District. He worked tireless days and nights to make sure that we were always up and running. He was the go-to man and answered distress calls day in and day out. He surrounded himself with a tech team that was like no other. Tom, Chris, and Tracy were truly the dream team. Lumberton survived and even excelled during the pandemic. Tom's virtual learning model worked seamlessly and inspired other districts through the pandemic because of Tom's leadership and skill set. Tom's impact on the Lumberton district was extraordinary. Hence, the Tom Wilkinson Learning Pavilion was dedicated in his honor, which is ironic because he was leaving and didn't want to. What was he planning on leaving or retiring early? The answer to this question is a resounding no. Leaving Lumberton and retiring early was never in our plan. The stress and demands that were put on Tom during the 2022-2023 school year were unbearable. He lost one of his key team members, and instead of promoting an internal candidate, no one was hired. And he ended up doing the work of 2 people in February, March, and April of 2023. There were new tech initiatives added with little and no support. Our family all saw how this was impacting his health. His blood pressure was up, and there were several times I thought he was going to have a heart attack. Seeing him this way was disheartening, and we knew it could not continue. Tonight, I stand before you to share the truth on Tom's leave and possibly others that have left Lumberton. It was clearly not an early retirement or a lateral move. It was for his health due to a stressful learning environment. Unfortunately, Tom was one of the many who have since left Lumberton. We have lost so many wonderful, knowledgeable, and passionate staff members over the last year and a half. These people love Lumberton and believed in its future. We were a well-oiled machine and definitely not broken. Massive changes have caused us to derail, and with even more changes in the works, something has to be done to save Lumberton.
Church Street. I'm transitional housing family, which is in Mount Holly. Most of you teachers, you know my children, William and Walter. Please stand. I want y'all to take a look at I'm usually a private person, and usually people, when you see me, everything is a smile on my face. But I feel it's important for the board, for Lumberton, for this district to understand the fight, why I fight the way that I do for my children, for myself, and my family as a whole. My family and I, we've been in Lumberton since 2016, And what you don't know is that I am a domestic violence survivor, where my family were left destitute and homeless, living at the bottom of a basement. But education was our #1 goal. No matter how hard I had to fight to make sure that my family was safe from their father, my former abuser, but I had to make sure that we didn't look like what we were going through at the time, living at Whitehall and having to being evicted and having to get all these items myself, while my youngest child was in a developmental delay. And because of, at the time, Florence L. Walder and the amazing IUP and the study team, my son is he was no longer in special needs. He was in general education since kindergarten. Walter is in 5th grade right now. That's a big my thing is that for years, not only have we had to go through that and deal with the challenges of that, also dealing with the fact that the loss of their father not being around, but also being a single parent, handling everything myself. That not only that, but that as of these last couple years, they're having to deal, or last 4 years, excuse me, we've having to deal with harassment from a stalker who today I had to get a restraining order from, but actual next door neighbor, dealing with a trespass over the summer in our backyard porch, and also having someone randomly shoot into our home. We're not being safe. And the one place that my children have felt safe is in Lumberton, has been at Bobby's Run, and has been in Lumberton Middle. They have amazing teachers here, and not have issues. And they love school. My problem is that this year there's been a lot of issues, a lot of changes, and a lack of transparency. Starting with 9/11, the fact of the matter is that when there was a situation and I get an email telling me that parents do not come up to the school, and I'm concerned what is happening, and then I hear from the counselors that they don't even know what's going on. There is a lack of communication. I'm a very involved parent, as you can see. And let me tell you something, as much and as hard as I invest in my children, my son at Walter, he's been nominated and has been accepted as, go ahead, say it. An honors band. William just yesterday won the spelling bee. Chuck A's, okay? These children are amazing. I'm not saying it because they're my children, but I'm saying it because Lumberton helped them become who they are. And the thing is that when I'm sitting here asking for my son being in a classroom where it's disruptive, being in a class where there's out of control, but I've seen it during the education, there's got to be some consensus. Not just, I can't talk, there's got to be some type of solutions here. Because at the end of the day, I can't sit here and do my job as their parent and advocate for them when there is no one giving me real answers and I'm getting roundabout. When the teacher is suspended, it's 120 calendar days. Not 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I need to know what's going on because I need to make sure my son is getting a proper education from his 5th grade year and making sure he has a proper transition to 6th grade. That is a genuine concern, and I'm asking the board, them to please have a real solution and not just giving me PR crisis management. I'm not someone to be placated to. I am a very involved parent. I love my children to pieces and I'll do anything for them, but I will not tolerate anyone just placating to me just because you want me to go away. I'm not going away. These are my children. I'm here to stay, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they get the proper education that Lumberton has definitely given them and is well deserved. And they deserve to have an education that is going to help them transfer them to their future as adults. Thank you.
Mary Leith, and I've resided at the 500 wing of LMS for the last 24 years. Okay, imagine you're told you need to build a house. You're given plans, building supplies, and a hammer. You meet with the contractor once, who explains how to build it, and then you're told to start. I have many skills, but without proper training, I'm not sure I could even build a doghouse. But this is the life we live here in Lumberton. We were told about a new initiative from admin, given a quick intro to the program, and then told, okay, go figure it all out on your own time. Oh, and take pictures to share. Throughout this school year, we have consistently asked our superintendent to slow down with the drastic changes in our district. Change on its own can be a great thing. I'm a history teacher. History tells us that progress cannot be made without change. I would also like to remind the board that we are all professionals, and we have dedicated our lives to teaching and caring for our students. We have a wide range of knowledge, skills, and we work constantly to create innovative and dynamic lessons for our students. I mention this because of a new idea called PBL. As you know, PBL stands for Project-Based Learning, and this year the district has purchased a program for over $18,000 called Defined Learning. This program is filled with what I'm sure are hundreds of great project ideas. Some of my colleagues and I were given a whole 1-hour training on the new program, which wasn't much more than clicking around the site. But we were assured by the trainer that she would return in October to give a more in-depth training to the entire staff. Now, since this first training was only for science, social studies, and the specials, most of us figured this was a tool we could use in our classrooms as needed. Nothing else was mentioned about PBL until November. During our PD day, each school had a completely different experience with PBL. At LMS, the social studies and language arts teachers were given a little time to discuss and create PBL lessons before we went to the training session. In the afternoon, we were sent to Ashbrook to listen to a presenter speak about PBL, who was a friend of our superintendent. To be honest, I just remember most of the presentation was about how wonderful the presenter was and all the interesting things she's done in her life. We did a very basic activity before being sent to another room to plan a PBL lesson in the entire middle school with no internet available to be used for planning purposes. After spending that time beginning to discuss a school-wide activity for PBL, we were told that we didn't need to make it school-wide. Then the next month we were told we needed to complete 2 this year. Then it became 2 and every subject has to be involved. And then it was, and now you need to create a project that can be presented to an authentic audience. At this rate, by next month, who knows what the expectations will be. I spoke to some colleagues at Ashbrook, and their experience has been just as stressful. During their in-service, they didn't even have Wi-Fi and weren't allowed to change locations, so their training was pushed back. Time went over, and the grade level planning was cut short. For them, PBL was not mentioned again until January 18th, when the grade level team was told to meet during their prep to explore defined learning. Then again, they were told to meet on January 23rd, when they had to pick a project. After picking a project, an email was sent asking them to justify the project. After justifying the project, they heard nothing. Then last week, they received an email that $500 was available to each grade level for project supplies. No other time has been given to the grade level to complete their plan, and at this point, they aren't sure if any time is going to be available. Some questions that came up were, who is going to acquire the supplies we need? Who is going to arrange the authentic audience to visit school for the presentation? What academic subject is going to be tabled for the weeks it will take to complete the project? One day a week is already being cut from science and social studies due to Spanish lessons. PBL is already embedded in their science curriculum, their math curriculum, through partner work and share our thinking, their writing curriculum, when students share their writing piece with the class, partners, and small group. Once again, why do we need to spend this extra money and time other than put on a show that includes photo opportunities? At BRS, grade level teachers were told they would have $500 per grade to spend on the PBL activity if needed. Unfortunately, special ed teachers, pull-out resource room teachers, self-contained teachers were not included on the list to request supplies. BRS teachers were told PBL should only be worked on during wind time. Special ed teachers don't have wind time, so students are working in the general ed classes without additional support for teachers or aides. How are special ed teachers expected to do PBL? The CST department never received any training about PBL. They were never given their clarifications. They were just told to join in class with their projects. Special area teachers only see kids for 22 days. There isn't time to complete a PBL project in those classes. But this is the problem that we've been talking about for the last several months. Our superintendent hears the latest trend with education and tells us to implement it without time to train or plan with our grade level. We were given an expensive online tool without any real direction. Now please, don't misunderstand me. Project-based learning is a good idea, but teachers have been doing it for years. You could have just asked us. All of us create projects to challenge our students to think critically and creatively and to bring together all the skills they have learned. We just don't worry about giving it a fancy name. It's simply called being a good teacher, which we all are. But once again, we're told to implement something without time, without training, without clear directions or expectations. Just one more example of how new programs are not properly implemented at Lumberton. The first thing we were taught about being a teacher is to always set clear expectations. We do that in our classrooms every day. And if I don't set clear expectations for my assignment, I know my students are going to fail that assignment. Why does our superintendent consistently set us up to fail? Thank you.
Good evening. Chris Pensaveni, Lumberton Middle School. As a child, miseducated is a child lost. Profound words by John F. Kennedy, but sadly appropriate for our district. As a special education teacher, providing the least restrictive environment for all children is the heart of my educational philosophy. One of my favorite stories is of an 8th grader who, in his own words, was a runner, among other things, during his time at BRS. In his out-of-district placement, he received his academic lessons, along with counseling and psychological services that he could not have acquired here. Upon returning, he put his skills to use, and it allowed him to flourish throughout his 8th grade year. This is just one example of many out-of-district success stories. Recently, Lumberton has embarked on a path to bring a multitude of students back to our district, many who are not ready. However, without appropriate supports and resources in place, it is not only the social, emotional well-being of the child that will suffer, but also the safety and security of that student, their classmates, and that of the staff that are in jeopardy. There is only so much that public schools can do. Public schools are not the expert in everything and should not pretend to be such. Acting as though our district can do it all is not only arrogant, it's miseducating the children who need us to stand up and do right by them. In our self-contained classes, Mr. Van Fleet is trying to support us, but the teachers are needing to protect themselves with bite guard sleeves. And there is not a crisis room as requested, a serious safety concern for when a child has a meltdown. In addition, teachers are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars of their own money for supplies and rewards to keep behavior systems running. These teachers are being told to use iReady when it's not always educationally appropriate. Some of these children in self-contained classes get so frustrated when doing iReady that they throw and punch their Chromebooks. Often, students with similar educational needs that are in out-of-district programs spend a large portion of their day working on social emotional skills with trained specialists, not simply special education teachers. While here at LMS, the teachers are told to closely follow the general education curriculum. Until these students have the social emotional skills to learn, they will only absorb a fraction of the academics that we're told to shove at them, when they should be spending a majority of their day learning how to function and control their emotions. Furthermore, until we create a program with training, funding, and support services for the staff and the students, these dedicated educators will burn out and leave the district, as many are doing already. I would also like to address the fact that since early December, LMS has been out of compliance due to a shortage of special education teachers. 4 classes are without an inclusion teacher, while yet another requires an instructional aid that was only provided for a brief time. These students require support. It's in their IEPs, and it's there for a reason. When are they and the general education teachers going to get the support that they're due by law? Educating the whole child is our job. The mandate of the Board of Education is to support the district. It's parents, teachers, community, students. You've heard the concerns of the teachers, the parents, and the community. How many children are you willing to lose? It's time for the board to stand up and support the parents, the community, and the teachers, not solely the superintendent.
Hello, my name is Kim Guzek, 518 Main Street, Delaware. I'm here to speak for both myself and my colleagues regarding the administration at the Lumberton Middle School. I've been a teacher at Lumberton Middle School for over 26 years. In the fall, I came across a study published by NJ.com. Do you know that the average teacher in the state of New Jersey has approximately 12 and a half years of teaching experience? The teachers in the Lumberton Middle School have, on average, 22.2 years of teaching experience, according to this publication. There's a reason for this. We love what we do. We love where we do it, and we love who we do it with. Many of us have been here longer than any of our current administration, a lot longer, and that says something. I'm asking you, all of you, to listen to our years of experience as I'm here tonight to discuss the administration at our school. This year has been challenging, to say the least. When Bub briefly resigned, our world was shaken. He did his best to support his teachers and staff in his building, and suddenly we had to navigate without him. However, throughout this year and last year, we did have a constant, an individual who has supported us, lifted us up when we needed it, and listened to us. Most importantly, he listens to us. He listens to us each and every day. That individual, that constant, is Richard Brown. We do not want, nor do we need, an interim principal at the middle school. Richard is our constant, our rock. We need Richard to be our next leader, our next principal. We would like to see Richard continue to be our constant, our leader, our rock, and the next principal of the Lumberton Middle School. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jen Hamlet, 179 West Over Court, Delran, also room 508 LMS. I'm an 8th grade language arts teacher and president of the LTA. Here we are again. It is my sincere hope that what is being discussed tonight, coupled with the comments from last week's meeting, that you, the Lumberton Board of Education, have received the wake-up call that is so desperately needed. I would like to first address a comment that I heard from a board member. The district is like a business world, and this is what happens in business. I'm sorry to say to you, unknown board member, education system is not a business. It never has, never will be. The fact that this comment was even made shows an unparalleled level of ignorance. Say you run a business selling fruits and vegetables. You sell some rotten ones to a customer. What's a customer do? They return it. Schools cannot return our students as we take them all. Big, small, tall, short, black, white, brown, dyslexic, gifted, homeless, rich, ESL disabled. We take them all, which is why schools are not a business. We are in the business of raising and shaping the mind of our youth in the best way that we can, and you, the board, can help us in this mission by meeting us on our terms, helping us to meet expectations and celebrating our strengths. To add, there was apparently some comments made by board members that all LTA was present last week, which means, oh, they're not unified? Well, I want to give you some data that I collected over the past few days. To be clear, we had over 60% of our unit in attendance last week. With traveling, home life, and whatnot, it's a tremendous number. A number we're all extremely proud of. You may not have seen 100%, but no, we all support one another, and we are going to fight for the common good, which is to change the direction of this downward spiral that our beloved district is currently finding itself in. We need change, and we need it now. I asked members to complete an anonymous survey, and as of tonight, 70% of our unit took the time to answer. Here are some highlights. 80% disagree that the physical environment in the schools are safe, clean, and healthy. 86% disagree that our school is sufficiently equipped and staffed to meet the need of most pupils. 92% disagree that our schools have sufficient resources to adequately deal with students who have special needs. 88% disagree that the board's decisions to represent the best interest of all students. 86% disagree that the board seeks and utilizes employee input and institutes policies that reflect this input. 90% disagree the superintendent responds positively to employee ideas and concerns. 94% disagree the superintendent secures the cooperation of staff in carrying out programs and policies. 94% disagree that employee turnover is kept to a minimum to maintain the continuity of the school programs. 70% agree our community supports our school employees. Thank you. 97% disagree that staff are provided adequate time and funds for preparation and follow through when new programs are introduced. Members were then asked, give one thing you would change about our schools. These were our top items: a new superintendent, improving morale, principals who will stay, smaller class sizes, support for special ed, and respect and trust in our teachers. When asked if they would like to be working in Lumberton in 5 years, over 50% said yes. 10 were unsure, 40 said no way. When asked where they would see themselves in 5 years, 40% said either retiring or in another district. When asked their overall level of job-related satisfaction, 78% are dissatisfied. When asked about overall level of job-related stress, 59% have a great deal, 38% moderate. It equates to 97% of staff are overly stressed working in the Lumberton schools. I would like to add, I've made numerous attempts in reaching out to the board regarding the LTA's concerns. Last year we met with Kevin and Missy and Dr. Murray to discuss these issues we faced. We were promised change. Nothing happened. I sent an email this fall to the board president and VP requesting another meeting before things fell apart. We wanted to have an open and honest conversation. We were told it couldn't happen without Dr. Murray being present. We were not comfortable with this because of the fear of retribution. We never heard back. I am asking you, the Board of Education, take your staff's feelings and thoughts and use them to make informed decisions when it comes to what you are going to do with our superintendent. The relationship is clearly beyond repair. How can we be observed, attend meetings, be told it's educationally sound? Do you really expect us to follow a person who doesn't listen to what we, the people, are in the trenches doing, the work every day, have to say? It's time for this district to move forward. We need leadership that will assist us in the healing process caused by the pain and suffering of the last 18 months. I'm imploring you, wake up, do what is right by the people you represent, the parents and students of the Lumberton community. You are elected officials charged by this community to maintain an educational system that is sound and just. You are currently failing your duties. If you want to make a difference, realize that change needs to happen and happen now.
Seeing no other comments?
I got one last comment. My name is Louis Lopez. I'm a Mount Holly resident who cares about our staff and the people who work at the Lumberton. There is a program I was listening to, NBC 10, by the government of New Jersey. A school-hard budget for the school of New Jersey. You should look at it. You could get more funding. It was announced today on the board. Just look at the website. There is funding, and I care with everything. I'm a usually journalist, care about Burlington County, not by Lumberton, all Burlington County. And it'll be shared like Facebook, Instagram, at @ByGodDragon, @Louis Lopez. If you want to have a copy, it's going to be fully edited within 1 hour after the meeting. Thank you.
Rosine Politowski, 147 Rambling Road, and room 1104 at Bobby's Run School. I've been a teacher in Lumberton for 24 years. I live in Lumberton. I love Lumberton with all my heart. We moved our family to the Lumberton community in the year 2000 because of the stellar reputation of its schools. My 2 children went through the Lumberton School District from grades 2 through 8. The education they received was delivered by caring, competent teachers and staff who were truly invested in all children. Sadly, the Lumberton School District that once was has changed drastically in the last few years. Building principals, teachers, paraprofessionals, custodial staff, secretarial staff, among others, have fled the district in droves. Morale is at an all-time low, and anxiety and stress levels are high in many of us. Why, I ask you, why now? Why all of a sudden are we seeing this mass exodus? We need to take a long, hard look at the attrition rate and work together to stop the bleed. So many veteran staff members, along with those not quite as seasoned, have left for greener pastures. This is a tragic loss to our once strong and unified school community. To say these losses are devastating is an understatement. And each time I hear of another colleague leaving, my heart breaks a little more. It's time to see the big picture. It's time to take a long, hard look and put all the puzzle pieces together. It's time to take action now. We cannot afford to look the other way. Our community is counting on us. Our students are counting on us. Thank you.
Erica Wisely, 27 Thornhill Drive, Lumberton. I, like many families, moved back to Lumberton for the wonderful community and schools. I couldn't wait to raise my kids in the town that I grew up in and send them to the high school that I went to. Last week, I attended my first board meeting as a parent. In addition to the many personnel concerns, I reflected more into the curriculum, technology, and professional development provided to the staff. I come to you as a parent, an educator, and current school administrator. I have some surface level questions that I came up with based on the purchase of Encores. Is there an issue with the current student information system Genesis? With the recent cut in state aid, is this the most efficient purchase? Is the money more spent providing students with a quality education and staff with the resources that they need? The transition period that you are going to do a soft rollout. This is doing state testing, IEP season, kindergarten registration. With state testing, there could be irregularities. IEPs are legal documents that everything must be put in correctly so teachers can follow these legal documents. If they do not, there is serious implications. Additionally, if purchasing Encores, you need to purchase an additional program for the nursing at a cost. When shown the program, it was briefly shown. It came up. It was, oh, this is what it would look like if we had data put in it. This is what it would look like if we had a student. How can you purchase a program that you don't know what it's going to look like? Is there not a demo account? Is there not test students that you can visualize? This is a promise. It was also told to us that they would not raise the price the next year. How about a multi-year quote that ensures they don't raise the price? Promises aren't solid business practices. My major concern came with the data. The data that you said would all be in one place. But is that valid data? Or is that data valid? I'm so sorry, I'm a little nervous. The data that is in this place, in this new system, it's data from a math program that was implemented without manipulatives. Would you purchase a car with features missing. They can be purchased the additional components if available for all of our learners, ELL, special education, gifted and talented. Those results are not valid. We hired an outside math coach for a large price tag to provide PD on the program outside of the initial training given by the company. Did the math company not offer a PD package with its own trained staff that works with the program day in and day out? Oftentimes when purchasing a curriculum, PD is built into the quote. These people have worked with the curriculum, trained throughout the state, the United States. If there is an issue or a concern or training didn't meet your needs, when using a company's trainers, they will work with you to provide additional training if needed. The next data source, iReady, was purchased for another large sum of money. This program is a solid tool that can provide interventions, skill remediation, extra practice, and extend learning when used and implemented appropriately. Training just occurred within the last few months. The first grade students have 25 Chromebooks to use. How could they be using the program the way it was intended? I can only speak to first grade because that was brought up, but 25 Chromebooks for over 120 first graders? That's amazing to me after COVID. How is that even possible that there's 25 Chromebooks for that large number of first graders? Instead of a Zoom meeting in June with how the new student information system works, how about a Zoom on how to use iReady over the summer to prevent the summer slide, remediate my students' skills, or extend their skills? An ELA consultant was hired to develop a homegrown curriculum. What are this individual's credentials and experience in developing curriculum using multiple sources? Also, is a homegrown curriculum research-based and showing proven data? Again, data that's going to be shown on your new student information system, all in one place. Is this the best course of action? What's the consistency and fidelity of this? Is it an option to pilot different ELA programs after narrowing it down with a district committee? I ask you about some of the items mentioned above. This is by no means any reflection of the dedicated educators. They were not given the proper resources, training, or support when rolling out many of these new initiatives.
Good evening. TJ Martino, 8th grade science teacher. I also live in Delran. Listening to a lot of this, I'm sure, must be very difficult as elected officials sitting here tonight. You have a room full of people who care about the students in this district, as I'm sure all of you do as well. While listening to all these nice words and all these fantastic things that are being said, I kind of thought about looking on our own board's website as to who you are as elected officials. And I'm going to just read right from the site that all of us is public knowledge. We are a group of 9 volunteers who come from different backgrounds and experiences. Our primary interest is looking out for the best interest of all students. We are generally parents like you who have passion to serve the community and support the education system. We are elected, and I'm assuming we all care. It doesn't say that on here, but I know most of you, and I know you do care. Our responsibility is to see that the district is run well, not to run the district. Now, your challenge tonight and moving forward is how well do you listen? How well are you going to believe and follow through these words that you all are all sworn by? All we're asking is to listen and do what's right by the district that you all serve. Thank you.
guess we'll close public participation. Dr. Mary, you have anything to say?
Yes, please.
Good evening, board. Good evening, teachers. First, I'd like to commend these teachers once again for standing up, and I suggest the board takes advice from them. It's time for you guys to stand up. I can address Ms. Murray once again this week, but it's kind of like talking to a 3-year-old, and it's not going to work. It's time you guys stand up for this community and do what's right. We have concerned parents, staff, we have the future sitting here. And before this night's over, each one of you guys should apologize to these kids for letting them down. This is sad. It's time to do something. You know, I don't know what else could be said because talking really isn't doing something, so now we have action. It's time for your action.
That's right.
Maria Green, Lexington Avenue. A year ago, I had a meeting with Ms. Murray, and I asked her, as an experienced director from daycare, I asked her, listen, I know that the reason why your staff is leaving and your staff are not coming into work is because of leadership. And I told you that, and your response was, I think I'm a great leader. You did, okay? You can make all the faces you want, but my husband was there, and you said it. You can't possibly think you're a great leader now.
Good evening, my name is Letitia Wren, and I have 4 students who went through Lumberton schools. I have one question tonight. How many of you on this board have students that go to this district? And probably most of you don't, and that's why you don't care.
I'd like to thank you all for sharing, for coming. I remain 100% committed to this district, and I hear the call for me to be more circumspect. As difficult as last week was, this is a moment to reflect, to strategize, last weekend tonight, and to recommit. I'd ask you to please remain committed. We are all here for the same reason. We want our kids to live happy lives, full of love and opportunity. I ask that you continue to bring your advocacy, ideas, and collaborative spirit to the table.
Thank you, Dr. Murray. At this time, whereas the Senator Byron M. Bear Open Public Meetings Act requires all meetings in Lumberton Township Board of Education to be held in public, NJSA 10-4-12B sets forth 9 types of matters that may be lawfully discussed in executive session without the public permitted to attend. Tonight we have a few personnel things that we are to discuss. So can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So,
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming out tonight.